Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Archnemesis has been out for a few days now, and people are starting to get a bit more of a grip on how exactly the system works, and some of the hidden nuances of it. So something that's been coming up in talking to other people that are doing an amount of farming of the new system is that everyone seems to be missing different components. So for Treant Horde, which is one of the more popular farming strategies, certainly something that I've found has been very useful. For this, you require three components. You require one called Toxic, one called Sentinel, and one called Steel Infused. I personally can never keep Toxic in stock. Other players that I've spoken to, however, often can't keep Sentinel in stock. This got a few clever people thinking, is there something that we are fundamentally doing differently? Those of us that are Toxic deprived, those of us that are Sentinel deprived. And so there was a player that did some research that's been published over on the Path of Exile subreddit, which I will put a link to down in the description of this video below because there's a lot of really useful information in this. So this is by Reddit user Posts Awkward Truths. They have started to find a strong correlation, maybe even a causal relationship, between certain monster mods and certain Archnemesis tokens. Now this list is not complete yet, but likely over the next couple of days this will actually become completely finalized. So this means that there are a number of monster types that are commonly found in certain tile sets that have certain common behavior. So for instance, a lot of the tile sets that are indoor graveyard themed, like the Cursed Crypt or the Bone Crypt, a lot of these types of maps have necromancers in them. Necromancers are associated with curses, and as a result, you will find that there seems to be a reasonably high chance of getting malediction as an Archnemesis token from these monsters, from these necromancers. And so if you wanted to get maledictions, let's say that you were short on maledictions, then you might want to actually go and target farm some of these specific maps. We don't have the full list yet, but it does look like there's some promising information going around. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is that there are a number of useful charts for making sense of the Archnemesis recipes. The Archnemesis recipes are a complicated system and one that I think a lot of players sort of memorize some of their favorite recipes and then just use the rest randomly. But if you want to find an external resource that's actually useful, this is my favorite one, this chart, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. There's a number of them again on the Path of Exile subreddit, and the thing that I really like is that you can look up a specific thing that's got pretty juicy rewards that you've got. Like, let's say you've got a crystal skinned. You can look that up and say, oh, okay, nothing's coming out of the top of this, so this is not a component in anything else. Or alternately, you might look up an invulnerable and decide, oh, this has got a delirium reward as well as a metamorph reward. That could be quite good. Maybe I should run that. And then you look up and you go, oh, wait, maybe I don't want to run it because it's a component in Lunaris Touched and Solaris Touched. Okay, let's say I want to make a Solaris Touch because Scarab sounds good. Well, what else goes into that? Oh, I need an Empowering Minions and I need something off over this yellow lead wherever it goes to, which is to a Magma Barrier. The other thing that's really useful is that you can look up specific things that you might have a lot of and say, oh, okay, what else are you used in? So for instance, if you have a Sentinel, you know Sentinel's used in Treant Horde, but you can also see from here, oh, it's also used as a component in Ice Prison. And if you're wanting to get an Ice Prison, perhaps because you want to run a Brine King Touched, then you know that maybe you don't want to spend all of your Sentinels making Treant Hordes. Maybe you just want to save one or two of them to do something else with them. So that's a couple of those resources. I will put a link to both of them in the description of the video below. This is not the only one of these recipe guidelines for Archnemesis that's around. It does seem that there's quite a few of them, but this is the one that I personally find the most useful. Definitely have a search though, you will find others, and it's certainly the case that for anything as complex as this, there will be different methods of visualization that will work for different people. Maybe this one works for me because I've got a bit of an understanding of graph theory. If you don't have that, then you might find one of the others more useful. That's all I got on that. May your Volobs have interesting results,